Hello and welcome to Matt's Garage. This is part 5 of our Shaker Table Basics series. Um, as you can see, I've done a little bit more work off camera, really just putting the finish on. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. People finish wood in a lot of different ways. I just chose a simple combination of an oil finish, thinned out with a little turpentine and thickened up with a little polyurethane. I find it's a good mix. It gives a hard surface. And then I just hit it with some wax. I mix some shaved beeswax with some turpentine, let that get into sort of a goopy mixture, and wipe it on and wipe it off. I'll probably still come back even after it's assembled, which is what we're going to talk about today, and do a little buffing here and there. But overall, it came out very nicely. And now we're really on to the last step of attaching the tabletop. Now, you may recall from an earlier video that we took a look at something called Z-clips. And I'm actually going to get the Z-clips out here. And really all we're going to do is carefully position them, get the pilot holes drilled. Cherry is not the hardest of woods, but you still want to drill pilot holes, and then screw them in place, and that should hold the top down nicely. So what I'll do first is gently clamp the edge of the table so that the aprons don't move. I spent some time making sure that the reveal of the tabletop was consistent all the way around. And that was a pretty easy process. I think you see my tool for that. I just set my combination square to the right distance, and it's nicely consistent all around. That's because we made pretty good measurements and good cuts when building the table. All right, now I'm going to get a drill bit and we'll get the first pilot hole drilled. I'm actually going to use just a hand screwdriver to get these in. I like to be very careful with them. I'm not going to risk, blowing out the wood or stripping a screw head. So let's see if we can match up the screw properly. I think I'm going to go with 3/32. I could go with a slightly smaller bit, but then I'm risking a little difficulty getting it in. And I'm also going to go over to one of my drawers here. I don't know if you can still see me. And just get one of my finer punches. I really like to get these holes, just about perfectly centered before I drill them. So screw hole face down, angle up, other angle that goes into the slot up. I'm going to see if I can find the center as best I can. There are center finding bits. I just don't think I have one the exact right dimension. And because we're in a little tight there, I'm actually going to grab one of my bit extensions. These are really handy if you don't have them. It's really especially for this sort of situation where you can't quite get in exactly where you want to be. And I'm not going to use a depth stop, although if I was smart, I would. I just have a good sense of how far I need to go, and I'm very, very careful on the drilling there. All right, let's get an appropriate size screwdriver. I want to say these are P2 heads. Yes, they are. And we're just going to carefully screw this in. Again, the cherry wood is not the hardest wood in the world, but it's not too soft either. So a little bit of pre-drill, some gentle action with a manual screwdriver. I've got a screw over in this corner, and I'll do some close-ups after we're done with this and narrate a little bit what you're seeing there. Obviously, you can't see it, and I do not have a camera setup that will solve that problem right now. Maybe someday. So that's still looking good. I like what I'm seeing. Again, to the eye, it looks nice. So I'm going to put one on this side, approximately diagonal from where that one is. I just like to get a nice, reasonably tight friction fit. And I'm going to do my best to identify the center. That looks really good. Just a standard little center punch. I think it might be intended for metal. Come back with the drill bit. That last hole seemed to be drilled just deeply enough. So we're going to call that good enough. And then I'm going in again with the manual screwdriver. Nothing fancy here. Just nice, easy action. I have in the past on oak, because I did not drill deeply enough in one case. I did snap one of those screws once. Come back and see how this looks. That feels good. All right. Well, that's the basic process. What I'll do is do the rest of them off camera, and then we'll come back and I'll show you a close-up of how pardon me, how this is all laid out. And then finally, we'll flip the table over and take a look at the final result. See you in a bit. All right, and here's a little handheld video just to show you the final placement of all the Z-clips. You know, in hindsight, I do need to figure out a better way of doing these tabletop attachments. I mean, the Z-clips work. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just that, you know, I'd really like to get to the point where I have figured out an almost no metal way of attaching these tops. I've seen some methods. I don't know that I have the skill yet to do them, so I might start a small project and just experiment with various methods. But in any case, it's looking good. So now let's flip it over and we'll take a look at the final product. So I got distracted and did not get a chance to show the flipped over in the shop view, but here's an even better view. This is the table. You can see it to the left. It has the internet and cable box stuff on it up in our condo in New Hampshire. And here's another shot of the table just all by itself. One thing I noticed is that I didn't quite match the finish of the other two tables, but I'm still learning. Maybe someday I will figure that out. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.